Who among us doesn't deal with anger on some level, right? Either we're like Brother Dave and we're an angry person, we constantly, get angry and want to punch people in the face, want to scream at people and get a flush of rage and clench of fists and jaw. Like, that's my experience. That's my relationship to anger. And so I have to manage my life and my practices, my relationships, my communications, pretty much like this training speaks to. It says something along the lines of like, try not to speak when you're angry. And for me, that's pretty good practice. Most of the time, when I'm angry, I'm best off saying something like this. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of the emotions that this topic has touched. I'm going to go take a walk around the block and get a cup of coffee down the street. I'll come back and maybe we can talk about this then, or I may come back and ask to talk about this 24 hours from now. Thanks for allowing me to take good care of myself. That's often what I need to do when I'm angry. Right? But the reason I wanted to touch on this today is that is not always the case, and that is not true for everybody. Anger is not the devil. Anger is just neutral data. Just like every feeling that arises in my body, right? It's just there for me to learn from. Sometimes the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and it's just me being irrationally afraid, right? It's just me hearing the garbage truck picking up the recycling down the street, and because of my military experience, loud sounds translate to lethal dangers. And that's irrational, and it's data, and I can ignore it. Or actually, I can absorb it and realize, like, yes, Dave, you still have a lot of PTSD, you still carry a lot of anxiety, and you have to be good to yourself. It's useful data, even when it's wrong. And anger is just like that. Sometimes I'm angry for good reason. Sometimes the emotion of anger comes up because the situation is in fact unsafe. Sometimes the emotion of anger comes up because the person is actually disrespecting me or my time, or being rude, about to do something violent. Anger is not a bad thing, right? What's bad is if we, like everything, if we allow it to sit at the head of the table too much, if we allow it to be in charge because we have that unexamined view and therefore imprisoning habit, the unexamined view being, when I'm angry, I feel this way and I tend to take these actions. Right? See how we can have that story very hardwired, right? Going from the unexamined view to the imprisoning habit. The view being, when I'm angry, I'm in the right and things are dangerous, and then the habit is I need to produce safety by acting out, right? By lashing out at the people, things, organizations around me so that I can produce safety, right? That's unexamined view leading to imprisoning habit. That's where anger and any feeling, right, runs us into trouble. But held in the light of our mindfulness, held in the embrace of our mindfulness practice, anger is good data. Anger is good data. And some of you out there don't have, years of growing up in the Bronx and being in the Marine Corps as your life experience. And so you may have the opposite problem, right? You may be out of touch with some of your healthy anger. You may be so quick to problem solve, so quick to be conciliatory, so quick to be the peacemaker, that you're giving your anger short shrift. And so for you, even though the general teaching is not to speak when you're angry, that I just wanted to say, because a lot of mindfulness teachers never say it, and I think that that's a problem in our practice. I think we have vilified anger, and I don't think that's the successful way to teach how we really want to handle our emotions as Zen practitioners. I want to say out loud that for some of you out there, the opposite may be true. And the healthiest thing for you to do is to start speaking up for yourself a little bit when you're feeling angry and frustrated. You may be repressing that too much. And Yes, it's a delicate balance. And yes, if in either direction feels terrifying, right? If you're a person like me and you're angry, it feels nothing short of terrifying to walk away and say nothing. I feel like I'm totally abandoning myself. I feel like I'm putting myself in an incredibly dangerous situation. I feel like I have just been, let's say, disrespected by the other person, and I am compounding it by disrespecting myself. And by not saying, you so-and-so, I'll tell you. It's terrifying for me. And so similarly, I must imagine that if you are on the other side of this very human spectrum, right, and don't ever tend to speak up when things aren't going your way, don't ever tend to speak up when people are maybe taking advantage of you, it may feel terrifying, right? You may think, oh my God, if I let this out, I'm going to lose all my friends and I'm going to get fired from my job and I'm going to get put in jail for being so angry in the street. But that's not going to happen. Go slowly, do a little bit at a time. But what I really want to take out of this training is not some rule like don't talk when you're angry. But what I want to take out of it is that anger is a very live grenade. Okay? It's got a lot of power. It's got a lot of power. Positive, negative, neutral, and mixed. And it should be held that way all the time. It should be held that way all the time, like a live grenade. That I'll go with. I think that's good for all of us to bear in mind.